Yeah, hi everyone. So today our guest is one of my good friends and one of the best developer in the Web3 space that I know, Nikhil Lakhwani. First, sorry if I said your name wrong, but I hope it's correct. Anyway, I want to congratulation to you to you recently graduated from your study in computer science in University of Toronto. And yeah, at the same time, I know this the education study program is quite difficult, hard, but somehow you have a huge working experience as well. And we are curious to learn more about it and hear your story. So could you please uh, tell us a bit more about your journey, your experience, how you come to the Web3 space, how everything starts for you?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you, Yusuf. Thank you for the introduction, and happy to be here today.
Yeah.
And I'll start a bit more. I'll begin with, I guess, my journey so far. So basically, it's like I actually dove into blockchain a lot earlier in my life because it was also a way. I was also trying to find a way to help like invest like my money. And
Yeah.
coming from Indonesia, like the part of Indonesia, it was traditionally harder for us to be able to invest in assets like US stocks and different ETFs just by the nature of, I guess, the infrastructure at that time. So
Oh, I
I
see.
wanted to, so I wanted to like find something that I would be able to help, that I would be able to help that could like foundationally build something with basically. And since then, um, I've always like dived deeper into like blockchains in general and everything. And since then, I've like I worked within like an academic setting as like the teaching assistant for the blockchain course, and
I see.
I've also done like some work in the industry as well, with some like smart contract development and like full stack development,
Yeah.
and that brings me to like where I'm here with you today, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, that's correct. So, as I know, you used to work with huge companies, teams as a Diap Inc., which is work with some of major projects in the space and help to raise for different companies more than $400 million in funding. Can you please share a little bit more about your experience? What were your role? How it's run it and how it's become to the Web3?
Yeah, for sure. So I guess for me personally, I began as like a blockchain engineer,
Yeah,
and that's I guess within my scope for like my work so far. It's mostly been about uh like Web3, like blockchain engineering in general. So
yeah,
that's I guess the scope of my work. So I'm not too familiar with like the whole fundraising domain and like business development side. But like I'm happy to talk about my experience like within like development and I guess like yeah, if that's of interest today, basically.
yeah. Uh, can you share a little bit more about your best development stock for the Web3 applications? Because most of it, as we know, there you still have to use the backend, some not only the blockchain. So,
Mhm.
can you share a little bit more about development part and how for some developers who wish to change the stack from Web 2 to Web 3, what's important to understand for them and how they can do this?
Yeah, for sure. So I guess like the main difference between like Web 2 and Web 3 like technology stacks are that for Web 3 stacks you have to if you need to make any like state changes, so if you want to like change any information
Yeah,
or yeah, so this is like to modify any information, you would have to pay like gas fees, which
yeah,
makes it uh, a hindrance of some like for the user experience side, which is why like I was personally like quite excited about like when account abstraction was implemented or like ERC 4337 because that was something that allowed for user experience to be a lot better and for Web3 companies to be able to pay on behalf of users if they wanted to perform any state changes or any interactions on chain. So that's, I guess, something that I was like pretty excited about in general. And in terms of like switching over from Web 2 to Web 3, I think like Web 2 in general, like I think I personally like the TypeScript Node, React, or Express stack in terms of Web 2. And if you transition to Web 3, like depending on the needs of your application, then you may still need to keep your backend. Like you may still need to keep a backend for any quick changes or any quick state changes, which you don't want to like make it too costly by running that on chain and keeping all the information, all the important stuff on chain. So in terms of like a Web3 stack, the node consists mostly of like using a hard hat ethers.js for any blockchain integration, and like depending on the blockchain network you're currently working with, if it's like Ethereum and you're a fan of the Ethereum ecosystem, then like Solidity would be the smart contract of choice. And then if you wanted something that was more customizable and using like Cosmos SDK to kind of build your own chain, to build your own blockchain, and Cosm wasn't like smart contract infrastructure to build on top of that. So
I see. And what is your favorite network? Like which network you can recommending? Like easy to integrating and in security purpose, which one is it like the best from your opinion?
So for me personally, I think from my experience so far, because I spend most of my time with Ethereum, so that's like it's the one that I would recommend, especially like because there's more resources on it in general, and there's like as a technology, so it's been out, I'd say the longest compared to the other ones, which are like programmable, like apart from like the Bitcoin stack. But in general, I think like Ethereum is probably the mostly beginner friendly, and like writing with Solidity is also very similar to writing with JavaScript. So I think it's great for people who've been like working with that in the past. So I definitely recommend that in terms of like what kind of blockchain technology to start working with.
Yeah. And what's your opinion about Solana network, Rust? Is it really different between the Solidity and Rust to coding on it?
So like I've worked on a few like custom wasm Rust smart contracts, but I've actually not touched Solana yet, which is something that's been on my radar for a while and something I want to get into. But there is like just because of the nature of like how interoperable you want your contract to be. That's I guess why I think there's a lot of like overlying overlying syntax on top of like custom wasm smart contracts in Rust. But I personally have not worked with Solana, so I have no idea like what that could look like. But it's something that I'm looking forward to trying soon.
I'm trying to figuring out like for developers who work with JavaScript. Yeah, definitely to write smart contracts on Solidity gonna be like the best and easiest way. But for developers who just in general wanna enter to development side, start learning to build something on blockchain, is it for them a good idea to learn Rust on Solana or maybe C plus for blockchain for Bitcoin network or just learn Solidity? What do you think? Like the question is actually more about the future of development on blockchain, like which network, which language from your opinion has the best future?
Okay, so for me personally, I'd say like future wise, I mean, if I knew the future, that would be where I was be spending all of my money into, like, and investing in. But I mean, unfortunately, like, I don't have that level of insight. But I'd say right now there is a lot of demand for like Rust development in general. So I think Rust is something like very important to pick up because I think there was also something. It was also mentioned, I think, in like the U.S. government security White House paper. So I think there's a lot of traction for Rust in general. But in terms of like something that I would personally recommend is like to always start with like basics, and I think Solidity has pretty good basics in terms of that, and then slowly work your way towards other different kinds of smart contracts, and then like working on different chains after that.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, are you using some AI tools?
AI tools, yeah. So I'm a big fan of like ChatGPT for sure. I think it does like a lot of like streamlining, and like it helps me learn a lot faster because instead of like just typing on Google, I would be able to just like talk to a chatbot. So I think ChatGPT is definitely valuable for me.
So, what do you think? AI on smart contracts, is it something possible? Can we see it in future?
So I've actually seen a few companies like start to work on it. I think like one is like called Chain ML
Yeah,
that I've been looking into, and I'm actually not too familiar with, I guess, what kind of tech would you need for something for like a tool like that. But I think it definitely is promising considering like how important data security is for most
yeah,
people. So I think it's like definitely valuable to have some kind of like decentralized AI tool. I think that can help a lot of people feel more comfortable regarding
yeah,
like how their data is being processed and things like that. So I think there's definitely value in a tool like that.
yeah, that's for sure. And uh, is Web3 the future of internet, from your opinion?
Hmm. I think that's a good question. Uh, I say I'm not
I
too
mean,
sure, but
yeah,
I think there's definitely like value in what it can offer. But like most things, I think it offers like a different angle. So I guess like something that I've been thinking about mostly is like Web3 kind of offers something a little different than other than I guess like current technologies. So
yeah,
I think it offers value in what it can do, and I don't think crypto is going anywhere anytime
yeah,
soon, but just because of I think the market cap that I think Bitcoin has even reached in general is quite massive. And there's been a lot of like regulatory infrastructure now, like with like the Bitcoin ETF being approved, and
yeah,
like the Ethereum ETF also looks kind of promising. So I think like on the regulatory end, I think it's looking more promising. But in terms of like technology and like how revolutionary it is to be the next age of the internet, I'm not sure how close that is. But I think it'll definitely be an addition to the current state of the internet. But I don't think it'll be able to replace it completely. But
yeah.
I'd say I'd say that's my current take on I think like where Web3 is going in the future.
Yeah, I mean, like, you already know, like, from my side, I'm already pretty sure that the future of economy gonna be on blockchain. This is for sure. But in
Mhm.
terms of other tools in internet, like, do we gonna use it for? Oh, actually, you used to work right on social media, social network on blockchain. So is it has the bright future? So do we gonna see future of Facebook on blockchain for the data privacy and all the other benefits?
Okay, so in terms of like the social media side, I think definitely social media is something where like if somebody posts something, they want to be able to own
Yeah,
that kind of work and to kind of own the posts that they make. And I think that's why I think there is value in like a decentralized social media network for that kind of purpose. But and in terms of data privacy as well, like having full control and understanding where your data is going, I think is also something that's pretty valuable.
yeah, that's for sure. Can you please share to us like your most interesting challenges that you're facing during your development experience on Web3 blockchain? Like, what challenges you faced during this time?
I'll talk, I guess, my earlier like parts of my like when I was first like working with blockchain work. It's like I had a hard time like working with scripting, I guess in general, like because I was working with like ethers.js in the beginning, and it took me a while to kind of like adjust and understand like what the different components were doing, and just because there was like a lack of resources in general, and that for
Yeah,
example like ethers v5 and ethers v6 are so different from each other. So with each version you're with each version you're going to have like different kinds of just like the tool will continue to iterate, and the resources may not exactly match up, which
yeah,
may be a problem when you're like studying or learning. So I think yeah, so I think like Web3 developer education is something that's has to continue to update and continue to keep improve
yeah.
to help like to help more developers come into the space. And I think that was I think probably one of the challenges that I went through personally.
Yeah. Oh, that's actually true. Like, I think anyone who do development on smart contracts has to like used to face it such a problem that you build something, it doesn't work, and you don't have any exact documentation or clear
Mm,
guidance on how to doing it, and you kind of like improvising by yourself to find out on it. And
mm.
could you please share to us how you keep yourself update of new technologies come, and are you experiencing with all new major updates on, let's say, Ethereum network, or you just picking up like what you need in your projects?
Sorry, did you mind repeating that question again? Sorry.
How are you keeping yourself update on new technologies, new updates that comes on the networks?
Okay, so like I'll just give my like honest answer. It's like so my Google app on my phone kind
Yeah.
of continuously. I guess just because of like it's the news I read, it just shows me more blockchain or like Ethereum related news. So I just stay updated through there mostly, and I think YouTube is also something that I like tend to look into from time to time. But I
Yeah.
think that's probably one of the main two places, and then third would probably be like just my friends in general. So
Yeah.
I'm also part of like the Web3 organized student group at the
Yeah.
University of Toronto. So uh, there's a lot of like passage of information through there. So I think it's like my circle and then my Google app probably. I think those two.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, like for keeping yourself update from your community friends, that's the best way. In terms of YouTube, any suggestion of channels that you're following?
Oh, uh, I'm not too sure about like news related things, but it's just from my suggested. I don't
Yeah.
really have a channel that I watch in
Oh,
like in its entirety, but I think there's definitely some good like YouTubers that go over like some of the technology. So I definitely recommend that.
all right. Um, what is your the most favorite project in the space, and why you like it?
Most favorite project. Um, Actually, I haven't thought about this, but
Yeah, that's actually the best. Just what comes up
yeah, for
into
sure.
your mind the
I think
first.
the first thing that came to my mind was like Unisoft. I'm not too sure why, but I think it's I think it's because like they pretty much open source everything,
Yeah.
and like you can even see like their front end components, how it's split up. Uh, there are different contracts and everything, and they keep iterating on newer versions whenever there's like issues. Like for example, Unisoft V2 had like front running attacks, and then they fix it with V3, like
Yeah.
pretty much fix it. And just like the nature of like how they wrote up like the liquidity pools and like all of those formulas, I think are definitely interesting to me, and it's like something that I can't like, really fully grasp currently, but it's definitely something that I want to fully understand, like lending protocols and staking and everything. So I think that's definitely one of my favorite projects that I don't completely understand myself. So
Oh, that's cool. So you still trying to like experiencing with those new updates on version 3 and other liquidity pools, other tools?
yeah,
Yeah. Oh, that's
exactly.
cool. All right. Can you please share us a little bit more about the Web3 University of Toronto? Sorry, I forget to introduce that you're one of co-founder and president of student group of Web3 University of Toronto. And can you please share to us how you comes up to it, and what's the education program that you're providing?
For sure. So I was one of the co-founders like 2 years ago, I believe, for like the Web3 student group at the University of Toronto. And now I'm currently working more as within like an advisory position. Uh, because like I plan to graduate soon, so that's I guess my current position. So my plan is to basically, so I guess the educational resources we provide are like blockchain development workshops, and we
Yeah.
also help with community building. So if you're interested in the space, there's definitely people you can talk to. And we also are doing a lot of like some startup work right now. So
Yeah.
it's like if you're a startup founder and you want to, and like you have like an idea, we provide like some kind of, so we have like something that's called like the Da Vinci competition, which is like, which will allow you to, I guess, work on your startup. And if you're, and there'll be judges that come in, and if it's successful, then you'll receive like a prize. And that's I guess one of the resources we have in terms of like if you are a startup founder. And in terms of uh, in terms of other resources, I think you can like follow like the social media account, and then basically that'll allow you to stay up to date with any new things that we have planned.
All right. So basically, if there's startup who like at least want to have some consultation or joint group, get any help, they can just contact the Web3 University of Toronto on social medias, or how they can applying for it.
Yeah, so I think best would be to go on our social media account, and I'll just plug it. It's like web3.uft, so at web3.uft, and then that's our Instagram, and then you'll be able to access that. And then you'll be able to access that for our for any very recent events or anything.
Oh, that's cool. We're gonna share the link in comments after. We actually live here on 3 different social medias, so we're gonna share the link on your social medias. I'm pretty sure that we have a lot of audience who thinking about those ideas of startup or who are already running a startup, and yeah, I hope that some of them gonna fit to work with you as well. So, can you
Yeah, for
please
sure.
explain a little bit more about your speech and masterclass on upcoming event on University of Toronto on 15th of June? What the
Yeah,
audience
for
can
sure.
accepting and learn from your experience in you?
Yeah. So for me personally, my talk will be mostly about the development side of Web3. So why and so I guess I'll start with like this more of the basics about why to even use why Web3 to begin with, and then like which use cases would be good to transition from Web2 to Web3, and I guess like the benefits and drawbacks of kind of like Web3 development in its current form. And then from there we'll go into, I guess, just like a more detailed dive about like the future of Web3 development, where it currently is. And yeah, I guess the angle that I'm planning to take for the talk. And if anyone has anything they'd like me to cover as well, like feel free to just reach out, and that's something I'm happy to talk about as well. But the main focus will be about like Web3 development.
Oh, that's cool. Honestly, we're gonna have a lot of developers who like. I'm personally getting a lot of questions about the development part. Like, do there is there gonna be some speaker developer with who they can talk and get some more experience on it? All right.
Mhm.
Any updates or upcoming events on the Web3 University of Toronto or from your current projects that you want to share?
As of right now, I don't think I have anything to share on the top of my head, but I'd say like the place to stay updated would be like the Instagram account, and then if you have any updates, we'll definitely be there for sure.
All right. So we have a short time today. Again, we had our guest Nikhil Lakhwani, um, good developer, team lead of several Web3 teams or development side. University of Toronto, Web3 University of Toronto president and co-founder, and we are welcoming everyone to our upcoming event on 15th of June to learn more, to speak directly to Nihil, ask any questions, and just to get in contact. Nihil, thank you so much for your time. I know you're quite busy during these days. And again, congratulations with your ending of education. And yeah, see you soon. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much. Take care.
Yeah,
Thank you
you
so much,
too.
Yusuf. Take care. Yeah,
Bye. See you.
bye.